This magazine covers a diverse range of topics, from travel and sports to science and technology. The item you want is unavailable now. It went out of production in 2012. When it comes to performing an experiment, safety is always of the utmost importance. A war between the oil-exporting countries broke out and caused a steep rise in oil prices worldwide. Chemical fertilizers, though damaging to human health, are widely used to grow agricultural products today. The government has come up with some feasible ways to respond to the aging population, such as establishing more nursing homes. Water pollution caused by the waste discharge from the local factories led to an acute shortage of clean, fresh water in the region. London has an elaborate subway system with more than 400 kilometers of track. Some species of mosquitoes have become so resistant to DDT that it cannot kill them anymore. Even though it rained abruptly in the middle of the soccer match, the team still continued to play. Ancient people observed the moon closely to make predictions about the weather. It is no exaggeration to say that global warming is affecting all the living things on the planet. Although pesticides are harmful to nature, they are really helpful in reducing crop losses for farmers. To be sure, industrial development has brought us comfort and convenience. However, it has also ruined the ecology of the earth. Zach knocked over the salt shaker by accident, making the grains of salt scatter all over the table.
The size of this tiny insect is half as small as that of a grain of rice.
Before the typhoon, enormous cloud formations made up a purple mass in the sky.
The newly elected president is working on the formation of a new cabinet.
The network of roads in this city is well developed, making transportation there very efficient. A large number of people in Mali are facing another famine because of the long-continued drought. Many parents have trouble successfully communicating with their teenage offspring because of the generation gap. Though Vicky's first album sold well, it didn't make her qualify as a superstar yet. She will be a major success if her next albums also sell well.
Successfully completing the 5-week training course qualifies the students to drive a car.
When female sea turtles are ready to reproduce, they usually swim to the shore to lay their eggs. We are prepared to give up all the work we've done so far and start all over again if the need arises. Ms. Honda emigrated from Japan to Finland many years ago. Now, she visits her friends in Osaka every other year. Since Mr. Jenkins is occupied this afternoon, he has proposed that I give him a call tomorrow morning. A price tag is attached to each item in the store so that the customers do not have to ask anyone about the price. Erica is an easygoing person, and she has no trouble sustaining close friendships with other people. Lorena Ochoa retained the world golf title for more than 3 years, which is a record that hasn't yet been broken. Some people believe that if bees disappear off the face of the earth, humans will have only 4 years left to live. Although the prediction may seem astonishing, it is in fact highly probable. Bees, the insects that qualify as the best pollinators in nature, carry pollen from plant to plant in their daily search for food. If there were no bees, most plants would not be fertilized and thus would fail to reproduce. As a result, the products of these plants would be unavailable for humanity to use as food, for clothing, in medicines, and for fuel. If bees become extinct, crop yields will fall abruptly, inevitably causing food shortages to arise around the world. Hence, it is no exaggeration to say that bees are of the utmost importance to human survival. Unfortunately, there has been a steep decline in the bee population since the 1970s. Human activity has destroyed the natural habitats of many species, one of which is the bee's natural habitat. Agricultural practices, especially the use of pesticides, are one of the contributing factors in this destruction. Some people have therefore proposed artificial pollination. Though it sounds feasible in some ways, the truth is that a worker bee flies among at least 5,000 flowers a day, with more than 10,000 grains of pollen attached to its body hair. Worker bees pollinate plants so efficiently that science and technology alone simply can't compare. What's worse, most people are not aware of the even more acute crisis behind the disappearance of bee colonies, that is, the severe imbalance in the ecology. Flora, fauna, and microorganisms of all species have important roles to play in the natural balance of life on Earth. The different organisms, together with the environment they live in, form what is called an ecosystem, which consists of various genetic formations, species, and habitats. To maintain the balance of ecosystems, biodiversity is the key. To be exact, biodiversity includes three aspects: genetic diversity, species diversity, and habitat diversity. Genetic diversity means that different genes exist in each member of a particular species, which can prevent the species from becoming extinct when the environment changes. Species diversity is the elaborate network made up of different species that sustains the balance of an ecosystem. Habitat diversity refers to varied natural environments that provide different habitats for species to grow and develop. Healthy biodiversity ensures the balance of an ecosystem and the continued survival of all the life within it. Nevertheless, over the centuries, human beings have done great damage to the planet's biodiversity, and it can hardly be recovered. Why is it important for people to conserve biodiversity? The Great Famine in Ireland in the 19th century served as a classic example. For the sake of greater yields, humans had long gotten used to planting only one staple crop in an area, which reduced genetic diversity. When a potato blight hit Ireland, the locals had a very bad harvest of the type of potato they had lived on. The famine eventually took around 1 million lives and forced another million to emigrate. If the Irish had planted several different potato species, some potato species might have been resistant to this disease, and the disaster would have been less grave, or perhaps would not have even occurred. It is thus apparent that biodiversity is of great importance to all living things. However, in spite of the lesson from the Great Famine, the tendency to grow certain cash crops or fruits continues today. And so does the destruction of biodiversity. As biodiversity keeps decreasing, humans will certainly suffer the consequences in the near future. And in the long term, survival will be a difficult task for human beings, not to mention all the other species on the planet. Consequently, retaining biodiversity is not simply about saving plants and animals. It is actually about saving ourselves and our offspring.